Jackson Chourio once again becomes the youngest player in baseball history to go 2020. And a little something else I really loved about the 3-0 win over San Francisco and taking 2 of 3. Away we go here on Locked On.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Boy, what more hasn't been said about Jackson Chourio that we can continue to expound on here? I mean, the Brewers, man, they just hit rock solid on this. Getting the 2020 in his rookie year at the age of 20. He signs that deal in the offseason, and because it's the Milwaukee Brewers, haven't been the greatest at making decisions over the years. Obviously, this is a large reason why the Brewers are in this lack of championship hole they're in. But they've come up gold in this one. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, longtime sportscaster in the state of Wisconsin, proud host of Locked On Brewers. This episode brought to you by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB. Use all lowercase Locked On MLB. Win $50 instantly when you play $5. I mean, I'm going to read you some numbers here. This is the kind of deal that the Brewers got Jackson Chourio on right now. He's making $2.2 million this year. At age 21 next year, he's going to be making $4.2 million. In the third year of his deal, $7.2. Fourth year, $8.2. Fifth year, $9.2. Sixth year, $15.2. By the time he's 26, he's making $16.2. 27, he's making $17.2 million a year. Oh, and by the time he's 28, the Brewers have the club option there to buy to get out of a $25 million deal for Jackson Chourio. And they have that option for 2033 as well when he's 29. By the time he's 30, he can become an unrestricted free agent. How about that? 2034. They need to extend that contract on him right now. Now, I say that facetiously. The one thing I do worry about this is if he becomes an unhappy camper once he starts rolling in the big numbers. Because if he's doing this now, he's going to be doing this and some. If he continues to progress and get stronger and get better, get better. I mean, if this guy's doing this right now, he has not hit his ceiling as a Major League Baseball player. My only fear is that down the road, if he looks at it and people start chatting to him, Jackson, man, why aren't you making $80 million a year? I'm just throwing that number out there. $50 million a year, $40 million a year. And that becomes an issue. I'm not saying it is, but that would be a possible thing for him. I mean, 8 years, $82 million. I mean, is there a better bargain in professional sports right now? In professional sports, not only for the Brewers or for baseball, but professional sports. 8 years, $82 million for this guy. Barring injury, he's on his way to greatness. I saw Gary Sheffield when he was 19 years old swing the bat and that bat speed and thought he was on his way to greatness. Chourio's better. And not only is Chourio better, Chourio's better in the locker room. Sheffield, as we know, turned out to be a disaster, not on the field, but a disaster everywhere he went. Talked his way out of Milwaukee, talked his way out of a lot of different spots. Okay? Probably talked his way out of the Hall of Fame. Not that that should have mattered, but I remember Sheffield started, I remember his career, covered the Brewers back in 1988. He started his career here. And by 89, he was causing problems. Jackson Chourio doesn't seem like that type. Seems like a grounded kid. Good guys around him in that locker room. I can only hope it stays, and we can only hope it stays that way because we are seeing superstardom on the verge and doing it again. It's one thing to do it for a bad baseball team, and Sheffield wasn't in 88 and 89. He came up late in 88, and the Brewers were a contender. 89, they were somewhat a contender. Chourio's playing on one of the best baseball teams in MLB and producing and depended on it to produce and doing MVP things. Again, he is going to be the face of this franchise to years to come. And the Brewers, hopefully, if they're doing this with Chourio, maybe there's some other guys they can lock up long-term as well on this type of deal. He got short-term wealth until the age of 30. You just hope that he's still happy down the road if he continues, and we all think he is, because he's got all the tools to be the great Jackson Chourio, maybe one of the all-time great Brewers. And I know this is his rookie year. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about this, about greatness. But, man, going Oppo the way he did at that ballpark and becoming the youngest player, and in a clutch moment as well. He's not doing this on a team that's expected to, just floundering around in September. He's coming up with big moments here in the second half of the season when in May, it looked like possibly he could be sent down. But he's not only one of the best player on this team, one of the best players in baseball, and he will be. Jackson Chourio, 2020, unbelievable. The things that kid can do. God, I'm so glad for our sake as Brewers fans and for the sake of the organization that this contract is going to work out. And I joke when I say they need to extend him one more time beyond the age of 30. I mean, I would love it because we're all in love of Jackson Chourio, the face of the Milwaukee Brewers. How about that? In 2032, the Brewers can get out of this deal when he's 29 years old and not pay him $25 million. What a luxury to have if you're the Milwaukee Brewers. All right. Chourio going 2020, wasn't the only highlight. Frankie Montas is the last couple of starts. That's some ace stuff. And I'm hoping not getting ahead of myself on that as well. I'm just being euphoric because I was so happy the Brewers win and take 2 or 3 against San Francisco. We'll get to all that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team everyday. PrizePicks. For those of you who love PrizePicks, man, I'm right there with you. They're America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Over 5 million active members. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, PrizePicks, it's you against the numbers. Pick more or less than 2 to 6 player stat projections. Maybe like something with Chourio on Friday night in Arizona. Watch the winnings roll in. 2 to 6 players, more or less. But you got to download the PrizePicks app today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. All you got to do is play it. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And the Brewers start a series with Arizona. We're going to come up talk about that a little bit later on here in the show. Huge series, and tell you about how Arizona has rearranged their pitching staff. It's a big series for them. They're fighting for a wild card spot. We'll get to that coming up here in a little bit. The first game with Arizona, Friday night tonight, coming up at 8:40. Freddie Peralta on the hill for Milwaukee. Eduardo Rodriguez goes for Arizona. Frankie Montas. Last Friday night, he gave that 3-run home run. He was sailing along, and he gave a 3-run home run and a 3-2 loss. But I thought he pitched great, despite giving up that home run. He came right back with 6 solid innings on Tuesday night. Frankie has got some good stuff. He was dominant out there again. And I'm telling you, I don't know what their plans are. And I was trying to read between the lines when Murphy was talking to the media after the game in San Francisco. on Thursday night, but he did say Frankie, not afraid of the big moment. That tells you, and when they think that Freddie is not afraid of the big moment, they have plans for him in October. 6 scoreless on 2 hits. Frankie, you could use him in middle relief if need be. There are so many options for this Brewer pitching staff when it comes to October baseball. Ashby, you saw some of his wicked stuff on Thursday night. How about Ashby as an opener for 2 innings? DL Hall, but Ashby in particular, how about using him as an opener? I talked on a podcast last night about some of these creative things that the Milwaukee Brewers could do. How about Ashby as an opener in one of these games? You don't feel comfortable with Colin Ray. How about Ashby as an opener? And then maybe some Colin Ray. Frankie Montas, though. I want to see how this pans out here in the next 2 weeks. The Brewers are playing some teams that are contending for a wild card. They got the Mets. They got Arizona. They got Arizona coming in next weekend in the AmFam Field. Frankie's got some big spots coming up. That magic number is down to 7. They go 9 up on the Cubs. I know I talked in the podcast yesterday about some of you guys think that the 1 and 2 seed in the National League, catching the Phillies and the Dodgers, are completely out of the question. The majority of you think that's completely out. They're 3 games behind the Phillies and 4 on the Dodgers. You guys think that's completely out of the picture. You guys are focused in on the Cubs. So the magic number down to the Cubs are idle on Thursday night. They go 9 up. They gain a half a game. So I hope you feel a little bit more easier at ease with the Cubs here, going 9 up on the Cubs, heading into the final less than 2.5 weeks of the season. 2 weeks from tonight will be the final weekend series of the season when the Mets are here. 84-62. God, that looks good. 22 games above the 500 mark. Cubs aren't catching us. Ain't no way. But as I was saying here, got off a little track. So many options you got in October. Freddie Peralta, Tobias Myers, Ray, who's struggling a little bit. But with Montas, Savale, an opener with Ashby, throw you some DL Hall in there. The back end of the bullpen, which we saw tonight. I talked about this a month ago. McGill as your 8th inning guy, Devin Williams as your 9th. That 1-2 punch out of the bullpen. McGill was dominant in the 8th inning, striking out the side. Devin Williams in the 9th inning, man, again, 9th inning, scared us a little bit there. Got out of a 2nd and 3rd situation unscathed in the shutout and completing the shutout for the Brewers. But Devin, every outing out there, he's walking the line a little bit, walking the thin line. But he got out of it. He's been getting in some of these messes and getting out of it. Gave up a ringing double, but got out of it on Thursday. So again, he's getting in some jams, getting in some messes, but he's working out of it. But I still feel good about him. And the McGill, Devin Williams combination at the back end of this rotation, outstanding. At the back end of this, at the back end of a game, outstanding. And the combinations the Brewers can use to start games and mix and match and matchups in the middle of this game and so on. They have an ability to be so creative with that pitching staff, so creative because there's so many guys throwing well. Savale, Montas, Ashby, DL Hall, the back end guys. Freddie has struggled in his last 2 starts. I'm looking forward to his start on Friday to see what he does. He will likely, obviously, I think, be the game 1 starters. But the Brewers get a 3-0 win. Yeah, I'm concerned about the offense. No doubt about it. I'm concerned about the offense. Just a little shaky. We're holding on to a 1-0 lead, holding on tight, putting all the pressure on the pitching staff, but the pitching staff has delivered. We want a pitching, but the pitching staff has delivered on this team. It's the offense we're concerned about. Hopefully the offense delivers down the stretch and into the postseason. But I like that win. And how about the Brewers scoring the go-ahead run, breaking a scoreless tie on 3 wild pitches? Damas was on first. He advanced the second on a wild pitch, advanced the third on a wild pitch, scored on a wild pitch. I've never seen that done in Major League Baseball. Have seen that done with my 12-year-old kids, Little League. He has done that a few times. He thinks he's Elliot Dela Cruz when he circles the bases and does that on the wild pitch. 3 wild pitches. He's done that before. But I've never seen it done in an MLB game. That's pathetic. I'd be all, if that happened to our team, if that happened to the Brewers, I'd be all over that guy tonight. How does a major leaguer throw 3 wild pitches and allow a run to score from first base? That's a fireable offense right there. But the Brewers, thankfully, don't have to worry about it. They get the 3-0 win. We'll look ahead to this series with Arizona, the big one coming up against the Diamondbacks. More so for the Diamondbacks, you might say, than the Brewers, but I still think it's critical for the Brewers to have a good showing for a number of different reasons. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Tono, everybody. Tono, I'm telling you about Tono here and the benefits for those of you who thrive on getting stuff done, including workouts. Every minute counts. And in our busy lives, we got a lot of stuff going on. But with Tono, they put together a workout for you and tell you exactly what to do and the way you should train to fit into your busy lifestyle. Fitting in a workout can be stressful. With Tono, you get efficient workouts, personalized just for you, and available for the amount of time that you have. Right now, Tono is offering listeners $200 off your Tono purchase with the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Tono.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, $200 off your purchase. Tono.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB, $200 off your purchase. Tono is the world's smartest and most effective strength training system that helps you get stronger, powered by AI. Tono teams up with every rep so you can deliver workouts personalized just for you. It's like having a personal trainer at you at all times. Tono will optimize every workout just for you. Unlike traditional gym equipment, Tono uses adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques. From professional athletes to a mom of 3, they'll do anything you need. They're trusted by thousands who have become stronger through Tono. And right now, again, Tono's offering listeners $200 off your Tono purchase with a promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Tono.com. Take advantage today. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book for a reason. They got great offers. Take advantage of this offer right now. They have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, which is a little bit more than a week away, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial. A 3-week free trial of the NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. All you got to do is bet $5 through FanDuel, and you're going to get 3 weeks. From America's #1 sports book, you're going to get 3 weeks of the NFL Sunday Ticket. Then with YouTube, the base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season afternoon game, Sunday afternoon game that is out of market. All you need is Google account, current form of payment. You can cancel at any time. If that's not enough, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app. Use it for FanDuel's double your winnings for all of Sunday. The pregame moneyline bets, the Profit Boost will be live starting tonight. It started Thursday night. View your account page. Now learn more about your boost with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. This is Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Talk a little bit about the upcoming opponent here in a second. The Arizona Diamondbacks for a first of 3, 8:40 with the first pitch. Another late night game Friday. Saturday, it is going to be a 7 o'clock start, and Sunday, a 3 o'clock start out in Phoenix, where it's about 116 degrees, but they got the dome there. It's going to be all good in Phoenix, Arizona, and the Brewers have those critical games. But I want to tell you, you get Locked On Brewers on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcast, we are there. There's thousands of platforms. Well, not literally thousands, but there's several platforms. Wherever you download your podcast, look there. We are on there, Locked On Brewers. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet because you great Brewers fans out there. But find us, search for us and find us right there. And hit the subscribe button on there and hit the alert so you'll be alerted every time we drop an episode. Also, our growing YouTube page. Please hit me up on YouTube. Search Locked On Brewers. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell that alerts you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. Pitching rotation has been set. Arizona changed their pitching staff around. This is a critical series. They're facing the tough Brewers. And Zach Gallen, who looked at first the Brewers are going to miss him, he's going to pitch on Sunday for them. Fought is going to pitch on Saturday, and Rodriguez is going to pitch on Friday. Fought, he's having some difficulties. Gallen is Gallen. You know, he's one of the terrific pitchers out there. So they'll have to face him on Sunday. The Brewers will go Friday with Peralta, Saturday with Myers, Sunday right now with DL Hall. CL with DL Hall. The Diamondbacks, you know, they got Carroll, terrific player. They lead the league in runs scored. They put up a lot of runs. They score runs. They're building off what they did last year when they made their deep run in the postseason. They're a good team. They're fighting for a wild card spot. And yeah, we do not want to face these guys in the postseason. That's for sure. If the postseason started tonight, the Brewers would open up against the New York Mets as a 3 seed against the 6 seeded Mets if the playoffs started tonight. And if they win that series, they would go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if needed. It's the best of 3. They'd play the Mets. They would finish off a weekend series with the Mets at AmFam Field, and then they would play the Mets Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at AmFam. Thursday, obviously, if necessary. 2 or 3 series. And if the Brewers won that, they would have to advance and play the Los Angeles Dodgers in a first-round playoff series on Saturday in LA for Game 1. So that's the way it looks. If the season ended right now, they play the Mets, who have the 6th seed. But obviously, that's going to change, I think, a few times. Could change a few times. But right now, the Mets are in there. Atlanta and Arizona. You know, people ask me who I want. The Mets, I guess, but be careful who you want to see. I mean, they're all tough. San Diego, they're all tough. All these games, no matter who they play, you don't wish to play anybody, really. Because, as we found out last year, all it could take is a bad 27 hours, and the Brewers are getting out the golf clubs and the fishing poles, and they're headed for winter vacation, and we don't want that. And as Brewer fans, we don't want that. I was driving by AmFam Field. I was like, man, I want a deep run. Want a deep run in October. That's what we're here for. We're here for deep runs. And yeah, sometimes the Brewers look like they can't get out of their own way and aren't ready for that deep run. And then tonight, when they get the dominant pitching like they did, it's like, man, just score a couple of runs. My greatest fear is that they don't score some runs in the postseason, because I think the pitching is going to be great. I think the Brewers are going to – I think the pitching is not concerned with me at all. I know some of you are concerned with Colin Ray right now, but I'm going to give him a couple more starts here. He's been great for most of the year. Peralta, Myers, and DL Hall. And for those of you who are keeping track and trying to get one of those top 2 seeds, the very few people who are like me, and they're 3 games behind Philadelphia and 4 behind the Dodgers in that case, I believe it is. They're on track to go 4-2 on this West Coast swing. Remember last Sunday I said they got to go 4-2. Well, they took 2 or 3 from the Giants. They got to take 2 or 3 from Arizona. Very, very doable. Freddie, last 2 starts hasn't been great. Let's get a good one out of him coming up on Friday night. Need a solid one out of Freddie. Myers, you know what you're going to get with him. And DL Hall. DL Hall has been special since coming off the injured list. A lot of guys special. Facing Gallen on Sunday. Fought has been up and down. The Arizona bullpen, their closer situation has been iffy at best. Iffy at best. Get to that bullpen if you have to as well. So the problem is Arizona, this pitching staff is going to be tested by those big bats of the Diamondbacks, because they can hit the ball and they can score and they play smart. That is a good baseball team. All right, guys, we'll see you all on Sunday night. Late Sunday night, we'll be dropping Monday morning's episode of Locked On Brewers. So if you want to tune in late Sunday night, we'll have Monday morning's episode of Locked On Brewers. Hey, the country is thinking NFL on Sunday. Your guy Freeman is thinking Major League Baseball and the Milwaukee Brewers, trying to take 2 or 3 from Arizona. We'll talk to you all on Monday night. Download our podcast on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcast. We are there on those audio platforms. And please go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That alerts you every time we drop an episode on Locked On Brewers. Have yourself a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for making us your number one download. All you everydayers out there, for your second listen to, go to Locked On MLB. My guy Sully's got all the information and all the news on Locked On MLB. Until then, we'll talk to you on Sunday night, everybody.